Well, hello everyone. Thanks for joining me. My name is Tony Hartsfield. I am a certified Atlassian professional and a consultant with Valiantys. Valiantys is a platinum solutions partner with Atlassian. So if you're trying to connect the dots, is how we get there. Um, and welcome to this introduction to Confluence webinar. We're going to spend the next hour or so taking a dive into the features of Confluence. I'll start with the basics. But there's a lot of stuff that has been added to Confluence over the last year or so. And so I'm actually going to be covering quite a bit of information in a short amount of time. So bear with me as we go through this. Our agenda today will first simply talk about what is Confluence itself, description of how the tool is used, and then we'll look at some of the basics as far as the capabilities of editing pages in a Confluence space, how that can be used then as a reporting page for both IT or non-IT departments. Also note that how it can be also used as a content portal for your organizations, your knowledge base articles for help desk, etc. From there. And then there are some new features that again have been added over the last year or so that I at least want to touch on, point you in the direction of. We'll then talk a little bit about, as we see how extensible this tool is, one of the things that we'll need to talk about is governance. And I'll just brush on the topic. It's it's a service we can even offer to you as a company, how you're going to govern your Atlassian products. And then hopefully we'll have a couple minutes toward the end that if you have any questions that develop during this session, there is a Q&A module in this webinar. If you want to submit your questions there, I'll take a look at them at the end and see if I can answer those questions. So first off, let's simply just say, what are we talking about? What is Confluence itself? Confluence is the Atlassian, in the suite of Atlassian products, it contains a wiki-style editor that can help you document, report, um, um, manage content information about your projects, about your departments, about individuals within your organization, or in the entire organization itself. And it becomes then this really powerful reporting mechanism that you can use uh, uh, between your other Atlassian products and really just your general functioning within within your company. It is the documenting side of your ITSM endeavors or your enterprise service management endeavors. Um, if you're using Jira Service Management with your help portal, when your customers go and create a new request, um, knowledge base articles based upon keywords that they're entering can be surfaced on the portal that they can view about the request itself and maybe even avoid having to complete the request because they get the information there. Well, those articles live in Confluence in a space. And it's easily managed by your JSM agents or by other people that you grant the ability to create articles in that knowledge base. It's great for customer facing. It's also great for your IT teams that will be working on those JSM requests. So you can have them limited to the IT people or publicly available to all customers. So great tool for doing just that. As we begin to walk through some of these features, you're going to see just how customizable things are and how flexible the features set is. And so that is going to lead to hopefully efficient use of information that your organization needs and suits the structure that you have. How you're going to use that information. Again, that's going to lead us back to governance because that's a question, because it is so highly extensible. How are you going to manage some of these features? As far as let me show you a couple of images here. the thought is that before you have something like Confluence in your organization, the question is, where do your people go to get information? Well, it can be from a number of places. Where is that form that I need to fill out? Well, did you not go to our internet page where those are located? Um, who do I talk to about this particular policy? Well, we sent you an email 6 months ago. You didn't save it, telling you all the processes that you need to know. Um, and so the information may be coming from disparate locations across your enterprise. What Confluence can do is that your people go to a single location and access the information that they might need from there. Now, this information may or may not live in Confluence, but access to the information is in Confluence itself. And so it really is designed to centralize the location of the items that your people might need as you're working through um, on your day-to-day basis. The next question is the way it's structured. If you're familiar with Jira or Jira Service Management, you have what are called projects. That's the work that is being that the team does, and then inside of that, it has what are called now called work items, which used to be called issues, um, and that's the work that's actually being done. So you have that the container is the project, and then the information inside are work items or issues. You have a similar structure in Confluence itself. The container is called a space, and then the space is going to contain content pages, whether that's an actual wiki page or as we'll talk about later with a couple of the new content types, whiteboards, calendars, databases, etc., that are available to you. So the question then becomes, well, who should have a project or a space in your Confluence instance? And there's lots of options here. You can be a department, the IT department, HR department, accounting, etc. It could actually be that project team, your IT team that's working on whatever the current project is, or it could be the team, or it could be a combination. And I have an example of one of those where I'll show you a non-IT department, and their space is a combination of teams and projects that they work on. We're going to highly recommend that you have a governance space itself, which is where your content creators have a place to go to say, okay, what are the guidelines within our context, how we're going to use Confluence for our spaces. And then finally, Confluence Cloud has the ability to, all users can have a personal space, and that is a Confluence administrator choice to have. But do you want to allow for personal spaces? It's a good place for when stuff is in draft mode or you're not ready to place it on the full space yet. Or it can also be used if you're using the crowdsourcing elements of Confluence itself. Um, this is where we see lots of organizations where certain leaders will have their own blogs there and gain followers from there. And so it can be a way to have the people management side of it as well, communicating with your organization. So those are just some options, and so all of these are possible. It's just a question of how you're going to use that. Full disclosure, this is, by the way, one Confluence Cloud, and this is a premium license that I'm demonstrating for you. And so there are a couple of features that are going to be premium only or expanded due to premium. So things like whiteboards. In the standard edition, you have some limitations as to how many whiteboards, how many editors of whiteboards, versus in the premium one, how many. It's pretty much unlimited from there. Also, the last thing is, if you have not noticed this yet in your instance of Confluence, this is now using the new user interface that was made final this month, July of 2025, where a lot of these things that used to be across the top in the menu bar of your instance are now on this sidebar. The same functionality is there. It's just a question of getting used to the interface. All I recommend is just give it a little time, and I still find myself sometimes trying to find it up at the top when it's really here on the left-hand side. So just bear with me. They've also added something called Company Hub, which should you choose to use it, it could be your home page or your home space for your organization itself. The one place that when people launch Confluence, that you want them to see information about what's happening there. Similar to, say, the system dashboard that comes with Jira. But this obviously being with the wiki tool, all those things that you can manage with several different types of formatting options, and you can do so. So now let's um, go into a little bit about just the basics itself, okay? So by the way, this is a space, and I'm about to go to a page to start talking about what is capable just from basic editing processes. It is a wiki-style editing tool, and I have seen uh, growing some development of the editing toolbar. By the way, I'm going to open this up in edit mode in just a moment. Um, and by the way, if your instance is, say, older than 2 years old, uh, 2 to 3 years old, it's quite possible that you have pages that were created under what was called now the legacy editor, and they're soon going to be sunsetting that legacy editing toolbar, and so all future pages will be made using the new toolbar. Um, Not a big deal, but there will be. You may notice some cosmetic changes especially if you're using certain macros in your pages, like the section and columns macros. Um, you'll see more details from Atlassian on that as it begins to move in that direction. But um, so what you're seeing here is a basic page. It has the title, uh, the recent editors, um, access to a summary of how long it might take to read it, access to something called analytics, which is available in premium as well. And really what you're seeing here is just basic text, headings with links to those headings. So you could actually send not just a link to the page, but a link to a location of the page you wanted people to read to. Basic text formatting, italics, color, bold. It has bulleted lists. It has numbered lists that you can also use. And so some very basic things here. There's something called the action item. I'm going to go ahead and open this up in edit mode to show you on the toolbar of the formatting toolbar what I'm referring to here. This action item is a tool that you can use to maybe you're using it while you're taking notes in a meeting. You could actually take the action items there. You can even @ mention someone that's in the instance, and they will be notified about that particular item. You can add dates very quickly that's on this. There's a new feature that's rolling out that action items can also be automatically creating new Jira issues, work items in a particular project. That again, that's a rolling out feature right now. So that's probably future functionality for you that's on there. So basics of there, I mean, you can see the headings, bold, italic, font color, um, a highlight color, which is a relatively new feature that's on there, alignments, um, linking. We'll talk about linking just a minute, adding images, emoji. There's a strong encouragement for using communication tools like emojis to draw the eye to be appropriate. But that's up to your organization as to how much you want to encourage that use from there. There's also, so this is the formatting options. There's also something called layouts. And what a layout can do is allow you to organize where the information lives. So this is a layout called the right sidebar. Let me see if I can open up that. Yeah. And so you have the one without a layout is a single column. You have two columns. You have a right sidebar, a left sidebar, and this is the right sidebar layout. And so I have text on the left-hand side. On the right, I have a basic table, and you do have a pretty nice table tool By the way, if you copy and paste a table from another product, say Google Sheets or Excel, it will paste as a Confluence table here. Um, there's also the ability to take the data from the table and convert it into simple charts. It's not going to be a complex option, but simple counting bar chart, or here it is, pie chart. Again, just nice features to help potentially visualize what you're seeing there. Um, as I scroll down further, um, because the page is located in a central location um, on the site, and people have access to it. If you have granted edit rights to people in your space, you can have simultaneous editing. I know that's a feature you might be familiar with other products like Google Drive or SharePoint, Teams, etc. That if they have the ability to access it at the same time, you can have simultaneous editing. We use that quite a bit at Valiantys. Oftentimes, we'll have our weekly sync meeting with a client, and there's more than one of us on the team. We'll often both be in the meeting notes page, so that one could be leading the next item, the other one is taking notes, or someone else is presenting something, and we might be capturing responses or action items on there. So, and then other times we'll just work on the page together while we're developing something for that we might present to the client at again a future meeting. It's just as easy to work on it together instead of one person doing all the editing. So I think you'll find that that's a nice feature that's commonly used. Okay. Um, linking. I think I think Confluence, especially cloud, is has an excellent use of how they do links. Is that when you paste a link, again, remember, I'm still in edit mode right now, so I can show you the options. This is what's called the inline of a link. You can just do the URL or inline. Another one is this is a link to another Confluence page. Here's another one, but this is what's called the card view. And that's you'll see here. And then lastly, you can actually embed a whole page onto your current page here. So this is a great tool, by the way, which follows one of the governance topics that we do cover when we meet with our clients, and that is you maintain the content in one location, but you're able to surface it in multiple locations as needed. And so if I'm referring to policies um, that the team uses in more than one project, I'll only need to maintain that policies page on one location, and then I can embed it into another location here. Um, these are with external sites. Again, you have the ability to see um, the card, the inline, the URL. You can also add alternate text if you want to from there. This is a link to a Google Doc. Um, um, I have access to Google Docs. So here is the document. Here is the embedded document, and if I happen to have edit rights to it, I can not only see it, but I can edit it um, from here. So I don't even have to leave this. Again, this is assuming that one, I have access to the document, and that in this case it's a Google Drive, but I also then have the ability to I was also granted edit rights to that document there. Imagine this is also a Dropbox file or box.net, SharePoint. Um, again, this is an alternative, by the way, to attaching a file. Where if it's still a living document that's going to be edited, why not just simply put a link to or embed the living document instead of an attached, which by definition is a copy, which potentially is legacy. And so that's another option from there. And of course, these simple ones, things like email options, which again, you have the ability to edit the link, what you want to place in there. And then lastly, if you are embedding media files, things like YouTube files, um, videos, or you have perhaps you have an LMS and you've got video content, training content in video format. Well, you could actually post a link to it here, and they could view it without having to leave the Confluence space, and it does it automatically. So it recognizes if it's a media file and automatically converts it into what's an embed mode from there. So just great ease of use. You really don't even need to use the macros for these. You just simply paste the link, and Confluence figures out what you want to do with it and gives you the options as to how to paste those. Now, I did say the word attachment, and I don't mean to disparage attachments because they are necessary at times. Because sometimes you need to have a picture of that error message or the org chart or decision tree, um, and so you are most likely going to be using some types of attachments, pictures. Here is an image that is not that is able to change the size if you want to. Add alt text for text readers so that you can be ADA compliant. You can also, this is using something called word wrap, where it is wrapping to the right side of a paragraph, or it can be independent if you want to. So that's the image one. This is another macro called a PDF macro, which not only displays the PDF, so they could get access to it, but they can also scroll through it. If it's a multi-page PDF, they can scroll through it like you would say um, a slide deck that you use for a presentation. They can go through this using the PDF format to go through there. Your attachments don't have to be displayed on the page itself. They can be using what's called the attachments macro, where so the idea could be this is your monthly meeting that you have with stakeholders, and since you want to capture the status at that time, what we might do is print the page to PDF and then store that in the attachments macro. So if anybody wants to see previous reportings of how our project is going, that might be how we might do that using the attachments macro. Commenting. Let me go ahead and talk about comments. First off, you can comment what are called inline comments, where if you select text, you hover over it, then you have the ability to place a comment, which is what these are. And you'll see the highlighting, this yellow highlighting with the underline. And then you can have a conversation about this. You even have the ability to resolve it. You can @symbol somebody. You can add emoji. So you have a lot of even editing capabilities even within the comment itself. There's also commenting at the bottom of the page. I'll just show you an example where if you want to go in here and you have really the full editing toolbar that you had when you had a page in edit mode. And so you can have an online, these can be threaded comments, so you can have a discussion about the page itself. Again, @symbols, you have a lot of formatting options, so you can really be pretty, draw attention to the content again from the comments itself. So two places that commenting can take place. Now, I've used the word macro a few times, and uh, for 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 someone that's not terribly tech savvy, the word macro can be intimidating, and that's not what Atlassian means by the word macro. Really, what they mean is the ability to format the content visually or to help navigate throughout your spaces and pages on there. And that's really what they mean by that. And there are lots of really good um, macros and use. This is called the information panel, and it allows you to, it has 5 built-in ones: the success, information, warning, note, error, the color coding with their emoji. There's also the ability to simply create without an emoji if you want to. There's also a couple of, or your own emoji. So if you want to highlight something else, you've got, I don't know, you using the Spark or something like that instead of these built-in ones. You can add an emoji, or if you imagine it without the emoji and without the, you just think of it as a background color for your text. Again, to help visually draw the eye to certain things, and so very useful from there. Um, this is called a status button, where you simply, well, let me just open up in edit mode again. So here you enter text, choose a color, and it adds it for you. We use this on our engagement pages to show whether or not we're on track with the scheduling of the project, or however you want to use that to see how that works. Another great macro that we like to use is called the expand macro. And what it is you um, um, you can place a title of it one, and then the text here. We use it a lot of times for on the engagement page with a client. We'll include the statement of work as an expand macro. So anytime we need to refer to something again, we can always come back to there. Or imagine you've got a series of policies, and you can have all of them on one page. And to help manage vertical scrolling, just simply use them as expand macros. And so people can go right to that policy or right to that QA step. You have your QA team has 4 or 5 steps that they make, and the tasks. And if you want to get to what does task 4 of QA look like, well, they can use an expand macro and go look at it that way. Great tools. And then as far as, say, navigating goes, you have certainly the table of contents, which can use the headings that you're using: heading 1, heading 2, title, subtitle, etc., and allows you to navigate throughout the page. Something called a page tree, which can show me the other pages that are on the space. We'll oftentimes put a page tree on the front page of our spaces, so that you can kind of see all the pages, similar to the layout on the left-hand side bar, but it gives you another idea. You should also have a page tree to another space if you have access to it. So if you wanted them to go and see a page on the HR space from here, you can put a page tree link there. So there's other ones that are on there. I'll show you another example of what's called a page content macro when I get to another space. I'll explain how that one works as well. And then finally, then the beauty of why you would choose Confluence over another wiki tool with your Atlassian products is how tightly it connects to Jira. Is that you end up with linking both directions from Jira and to Jira. And so this is a link to a Jira issue. Also, this is using the, if I go in here, this is the embed link option of a Jira issue. Here's the same one as a card, but you have the ability to place it there. But what I love about the embed issue is that if you have both browse rights and edit rights to the issue in Jira, you have the ability to comment or resolve or progress on the workflow from the page. You don't have to leave Confluence to do so. Really exciting. That was enabled sometime earlier this year, may have been or late last year, but I could always see it, but now I can actually edit it without having to leave the page itself. Great, great stuff. Um, and by the way, you can um, you can go the other direction, and that is from selected text in your page. You saw me had the option to comment, but I can also create a Jira work item, or what's formerly the issue in the associated project, direct from here with your selected text being the summary of that. If it's in a table, you can create multiples of the same work type in the project itself. So imagine you're having your meeting and you have a table of action items. Well, those could be quickly from the table. You could create tasks of those multiple things in the project itself. So a great tool for doing that. Um, as I'm scrolling down, sorry to make you seasick. So here's all the ones. Here's that issue here. This is uh, a macro called Jira issues list. And so this is looking at a search in Jira, and this is the search results, and it's showing you the issue and whatever fields you wanted um, um, to show. This is editable. You have the refresh, but every time you come to this page, you're getting the latest view of that JQL search. And then again, if you have rights to access it, you can click and go and go directly to the issue itself. Here is the exact same uh, filter from Jira, and it's being displayed as a pie chart. And there's lots of these options that you'll see as you're exploring the macros in your tools from there. Before I move on to another page, I want you to see you also have the ability to label. Now, this is the wild, wild world of labeling, so anybody can do this, but labeling can be used as an effective tool for connecting pages together. Think about it in your knowledge base articles. You could have labels for hardware, software, or what type of software, or request types, etc. And from that, begin to bundle pages of a similar content using those labels. Your JSM project, your service management, uses the labels itself to show what articles to display based upon keywords. Well, labeling is one of those methods for doing that as well. So I wanted you to see that before we put it all together then. Um, I think that's a good place to kind of show you what all this looks like when I put it all together. Um, and so I'm going to take us to what is a typical engagement page that we would have, Valiantys would have with one of our clients. Um, and the question would be then, um, if we can do all this on a Confluence page, uh, maybe this is the location where reporting on your project takes place rather than in Jira itself. Obviously, all the work, your team identifies what needs to be done and moves it across the Kanban or the Scrum boards to complete the work items there. But this might be the place where your stakeholders, your project leads are coming together on a regular basis for meeting and maybe not going directly into Jira, but surfacing Jira information uh, on the page itself because of the extensibility, the flexibility of formatting options on a page. You can not only present the information, but really help to manage uh, how they read it, how they're supposed to interpret the information. You control the message on this particular setup, and so uh, we really think that while your team is probably going to stay in Jira most of the time, um, people that need to know about the project we'll probably want to come to a Confluence page instead, or space, and see the progress from there. And so let me just kind of combine a lot of stuff that I've been talking about, all the formatting options, and that is what we have here is a two-column layout. And so on the left-hand side is just a table with what the information is. Here's that status button that's added. On the right-hand side is a feature that comes with your Confluence Premium license, and that is the ability to have calendars. And this can be either a calendar that is in Confluence, or if you have a link to another calendar, say a Google Calendar or Exchange, you can put the link, you can use the link to that to show up in here. We use it with our clients um, so that major milestones that are going to be happening, we also might put in there when team members are going to be out so that they're aware of either company holidays or vacation days, etc. And it just gives an idea of a visual helping people understand where we are on our calendar view. Um, and then this is um, a link to, I need to change the naming on that. It's no longer called roadmaps. It's now called just plans. But again, a premium license of Jira comes with something that was formerly called advanced roadmaps, is now called plans. And this could be a multi-project view of the plan. This is read-only at this point, but you'll see that it is interactive. And so you could see uh, your um, um, your epics down to stories, or even if you're using a hierarchy, you want to see what initiatives are taking place throughout the year. You can see what the plans are, and even manage what fields are showing on this. Again, this is a relatively new addition functionality added to this particular link, because you have the ability to uh, see the different views. Previously, it was just whatever was the current view that you had when you made a copy of the link and pasted it in here. Really great tool now to help you see what's going on there. And then these are just Jira issue lists. And so I'm seeing what labels are being used on this, what the status is. Um, and so I'm saying what we've done in the last week, what is in progress, what is still on the to-do of our backlog. We haven't started yet. Um, and so we can show that at any time, instead of having to take you to the actual project itself, we can show you quickly what we have here. And then here is the info panel. And then again, another series of issues lists, again with looking at a specific JQL search, with the same, again, being used with the pie chart on the right-hand side. But it's not just those two things. Those are handy. But because you have access to the wiki style editing, you can not only show them the information, you can give them information about what they're looking at. Tell me about this. Give me context. What should I look for? And this is all embedded nicely into this as you're recording. Here is the attachments macro again, where you can see um, previous ones. So I think what you're seeing then is hopefully that this really could be the reporting place that helps you with your stakeholders, project leads, etc., your PMO, so that we can um, um, again have a more manageable, focused, efficient communication setup to show from there. Um, and this could really be a time-saving advantage too. Maybe your meetings don't need to be that long because you've already got all the information available, and that's one of Atlassian's goals, is to reduce the number of meetings that your teams have to go through as we see that. Um, Also, then just kind of looking at the structure of this particular page. So again, this is for our engagement. So this is where we might have a meet the team page. As we're working on a project, we might have a risk register as we're working on it, and then all the meeting notes. And this, by the way, is using a a meeting note template, and that's one of the things you'll see when you're working with this is that you have um, I think it's 140 now templates that you can use that organizations that use Atlassian have created templates for lots of things, and so for meeting notes, for the and different styles of meetings, so individual meetings, weekly, one-on-one, decision trees. There's lots of stuff that you can utilize, and some of them will have not only the individual meeting notes, they'll have an index page. This index page, by the way, is using what's called the page properties uh, macro, where it's collecting information from of these other pages. So this action item doesn't actually live on this page; it's surfaced here. The same is true for decisions, and then links to other the other meeting notes here. And so some of your templates include just the individual pages, but also a lot of them also include these index pages, which is also be quite usable. And then we also might put in here things like the documentation that we're working on, so that as we're doing the design doc for whatever it is that the project happens to be on, the client has one place to go to see how that's being set up. If it's some sort of agile functionality as well, this is where we put the, the 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 glossary of terms, the meeting cadences, etc. That's on there. And then while I'm here, um, I think I also want to show you that um, some of the other um, content pages that can be made. Um, so we've seen the calendar. You also have the ability to create blog posts if you want. You also, as a space administrator, can, if you're not going to use blogs or not going to use calendars in this particular space, you as the space administrator can simply not show those on the sidebar, so you can manage those things. And then under the create option, you have the ability to create a page, a whiteboard, a database, or what's called a smart link. There's a new feature now called folder, which is it's not, don't think of it really as a management tool. It's simply an alternative to as you have pages and child pages in them, it places it in a folder like view. But you can also just simply have pages and child pages with the chevron opening up and expanding from there. So it's a new visual feature uh, I haven't really played with a whole lot, but I wanted you to see that as well. Um, I want to show you another um, how maybe a non-IT team might be using this, and also show you some of those other features that are available. But first, let me do a little bit of shameless self-promotion and talk a little bit about our company itself. Again, I don't know how you got here, but a little bit about who we are. Valiantys is a platinum solution partner for Atlassian products. We are global. In fact, we're the largest platinum partner, both internationally and in North America. So I just I don't believe the sun sets on Valiantys anymore. So we're on 5 continents, um, and we can definitely have someone in your time zone as needed for the work that needs to be done. What do we do? Well, um, we can help companies license their Atlassian products if that's something they want to be of assistance of. But then once we do that, we can also help install, manage, migrate, uh, um, govern, help, even do a staff aug, anything to help you utilize the Atlassian products in your environment, connecting it to other products if you need to. Atlassian is positioning themselves to be your enterprise service management go-to people. And so Valiantys is in line with that. And so if we can help how your company is using IT to get work done, that's what we want to be able to help you do. Um, and so we do a lot of consulting for that. Training. You're at this webinar every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. We present a full 1 hour webinar on a variety of topics like this one, Intro to Confluence. And each uh, each event you have can go and see. You can either choose from topics, you can choose the webinars or the paid classes. We offer several different types of boot camps, by the way. We do a Jira boot camp. We can do on request a 1 day Confluence boot camp. So all the stuff I'm showing you, we can do in a hands-on environment where we cover a lot of details in the full day. And so it's a good experience from there. Um, our full website can talk about what our company can do for you. Again, if we can even have a conversation about something, sometimes these webinars spark questions that people want to know further, and we're happy to at least have that initial conversation, whether it leads to engagement or not. We just like to see if we can be of value to you. And then finally, we have a team of full stack developers that if you need something else to talk to Jira or Jira Align, etc., we have developers that have created some award-winning tools to help enhance the functionality of the Atlassian products, or to enable it to function with your other products in your environment. And so we would, be happy to have that conversation as well. Okay, end of shameless self-promotion. Let me do one. Let me show you that other type of space. Imagine a space for the marketing department. And so obviously they're not IT, but they can also use a Confluence space, and they can also use Jira projects for this. And so they're using a template called Meet the Team, where some built-in text setups with background colors are in there. And then you just simply fill out the information. Here is a page of the latest updates, one from there. Here is their project dashboard, which is grabbing information from these 5 teams underneath it. So here's the project dashboard for the entire department, but then each team has their own page as well. And this is just gathering. This information wasn't made on this page. It was using the page properties and embedding this information into this cover page. But then each of their own teams has their own, which looks very similar to that engagement page that I showed you earlier. So here they have their calendar, they have their overall status. Here there are their Jira issue macros showing you that information. So they're doing some of the same things that we would do. And here they have all their stuff here. This I would probably want to put this into expand macros, again, to help reduce the amount of scrolling, vertical scrolling, especially if someone is using a tablet or the mobile app on this. Might be a big help. Here again, using the meeting notes. There is a new type of content called Smart Link, where you don't need to have a page first to link some type of other content. And so this is using the Smart Link. This is a Miro board. If you're using some other sort of whiteboarding solutions, if there's a link to it, Smart Links can most likely add it to your page itself. Here is a Trello board. Trello, by the way, is a simple pull task board that Atlassian provides. There's even a free version of this that you can use. Several of my colleagues at Valiantys manage their own personal lives using a Trello board. And so, again, just if that's something that's of use to you. Here is, they're using the embedded links to documents. Here's a spreadsheet. Here's a Google Sheet. Here is a feature called the database. And what I did here is I simply connected to the project itself, but you have the ability to change what all you want to show and have the different types of fields that you can add. And again, this is a way to again see it's similar to just simply the issues list, but it's placing it in just another form, again, what they call databases. Here is the whiteboard feature that was enabled in Confluence last year. It's now available on standard and premium. There are several different um, um, different types of templates you can use for this, or you can do your own style as you're developing it. But here you don't even have to leave Confluence to whiteboard your options. Here is the calendar feature. Again, this comes with premium. And then here is uh, using a smart link for a media file. And so this is just off of directly from our YouTube channel. And so you could either embed it in a page, or it could be its own separate page if you want to have that. So hopefully you're getting some ideas that this is a really flexible tool, has lots of options. And so, and again, I want you to see that this really could be your content portal for where your people go to find out information about this. I guess a couple of other things I want to talk about before is premium. Confluence also comes with automation, which is discovering some uses for it. Now, automation, if you're in Jira, automation is a great tool. It's you're using it all the time. What are things that are repetitive tasks that you're doing in Confluence now that perhaps automation could do for you? And that is like the ability to automatically label something or mark someone as the page owner for that crowdsourcing elements. You have a weekly meeting. You could have it automatically generate the meeting notes for you ahead of time, so it's already created now. Now, can you click a button and create the new one? Yes, but this one kind of does it ahead of for you. There are lots of suggested ones here. You can create your own. You can also use Atlassian Intelligence to create from there. Atlassian Intelligence is another feature that's available that can, like this, help you create automation rules, can help you summarize a page. It also has writing guidelines. So if you're trying to change the tone of the writing, some of the things are built in with that. So AI is now becoming Atlassian is pushing AI to the forefront on cloud, and so you're going to see a lot of great AI things happening that we at Atlassian are using every day on there. So I wanted you to see that as well. Let's talk for a moment about governance, just because what you're seeing, and I'm just going to highlight this. We do one of our webinars, one of our 1-hour webinars talks about governance, and so if you're looking for that, you can find that title on our YouTube channel or catch the next live one. We also have a full day governance boot camp that we can have with your people, your stakeholders, your PMO to talk about that. And so really the two things I want to talk about with this is that if you don't apply governance, then what you have is a highly extensible tool that can what my colleague calls amplify the dysfunction of your organization. You must have some setups how you're going to use this, and there's really two things you're trying to do, in that you're avoiding one, confusion, and two, you're avoiding the duplication of content. And so your governance is going to say, okay, first off, look and feel. What are some naming conventions? Um, and naming conventions are really important for when people are searching for content, so they don't have to. What happens sometimes is if you don't have good governance, people could be searching for something because they don't find it exactly what they look for. They create new, and then you've got duplicate information being created on there. So you want to have first off the look and feel, and then you also want to have then uh, maybe who has the access to create from there. And we talk about that in that boot camp, or we can have a conversation with you about it. Standardization and permissioning. And by the way, there's no one answer on that. It could be that your organization might be slightly different than another organization, how they want to structure this. You maybe need a tighter handle on who can manage the content versus another organization says anyone can create the content, and we'll just make sure we have the right guidance on there. And so there isn't a single answer, but wanted you to just know that that's a conversation we can have. I have covered a lot of information in a short amount of time. Um, First off, again, I hope you see what the powerful and extensible the tool is for documentation, as a reporting tool, as a centralized knowledge portal for sharing. I know I've only got a couple of minutes left, but I want to see if perhaps you have any questions about what you've seen, or about maybe what you're experiencing with Confluence. Um, Again, I'm hoping that you found this interesting. If you have questions, um, um, we're going to put my email address in the chat. Also, just simply how to reach out to Valiantys. If you have a question about that, our contact info, we would love to talk further. I know I've talked fast. I know I've talked a lot. So I just want to say thank you. Uh, my name again is Tony Hartsfield. I am a consultant with Valiantys, and you have gone through with me on this introduction to Confluence. I hope it was beneficial, or perhaps it can lead to further discussion with you in the future. But again, for now, thank you, and hope you have a great rest of your day.